So I'm Rachel. I thought I would start to document everything that's going on with my horse, because I think other people would benefit from it. And if I can teach and try to help people prevent things that I'm going through right now, then at least something good's come out of it. So I have a 9-year-old horse, Irish sport horse, called Arthur. He's the most fabulous horse, such a fabulous boy. I've had him since the age of 5. Was broken in at a 3-year-old in Ireland. Was brought to the UK. Very honest boy. Probably did too much. And then I got him when he was 5, and I've probably done a little bit too much with him. In my first year of owning him, he was my first horse. I just get excited. He absolutely loves jumping. But I've always known that there was something not quite right. So I've just, despite him passing his 5-stage vetting, I just knew from day one of owning this horse that I just knew that there was something not right. But he was never naughty. And the signs were so subtle. So I just put it on that I just do what everybody does and just accept that that's just him. And I can categorically say that there is no such thing as a naughty horse. So anyway, I noticed lots of problems when I first had him, but he was still so honest, and he was still, I used to love to take him to competitions because that's where he seemed to excel. Now looking back, I think it's something to do with adrenaline. So adrenaline reduces pain and he performs better. That's the pattern I'm going with anyway. But he never performed like a young horse, never. Especially when I have a 22-year-old grey to compare against, and he can be outrun against an old age pensioner every single time. Anyway, I did notice problems, but then they didn't really come to light until 2019. So I started to learn more about saddle fit, and I realised that the channel on my saddle was way too narrow. So I did have that looked at, and had to get him a new saddle, and that was a whole total new can of worms. I've had about 4 saddles. I've wasted so much money. I strongly advise anybody to learn to teach yourself about saddle fit and to teach yourself what to look out for, because you will. I feel like I really, really struggled with saddle fitters. I do have a lovely saddle fitter now, which I feel like I can trust. So that's one step further anyway. But anyway, there was things that the vet had found, but we were thinking that it might just be to do with the saddle. So we went through rehab, and I ended up going through a couple of saddles and they just still weren't right. So I ended up biting the bullet and I bought a more expensive saddle. And he completely changed the rehab, the long and low work. He was a completely different horse. He went from this stuffy giraffe-like horse to actually looking like a lovely dressage horse, and a lot of people complimented on how he looked, and His jumping was going really great. So I felt like he was improving. But winter came, obviously don't do so much. Had lots and lots of snow. I live in an area where we do get lots of snow. And then there was one time where finally, after about a month of not being able to ride, I got him in from the field, noticed he had a massive knee, totally missing the left hind splint. Had the vet out, lameness workup, looked fine, peed fine. So he just had a few days off and just hacked him, just did some low level stuff. And then in March, I started to bring in his fitness up, ready for our first just low level 1-day event. And I just noticed something wasn't quite right. So he was jumping my cross country fences in the fields, brilliant, really happy. But the show jumps in the arena just weren't there. So I just carried on with his hacking and things like that. Didn't really think anything of it. In April, did our 1-day event, 80 centimetre, and he was fab. He was absolutely fabulous. We came second out of 17 people. All these people with expensive dressage saddles, Voltaire dressage saddles, and there's little old me with a jumping saddle. And we came second. I was very proud of him. And just carried on as you do. I didn't really feel like there was anything, there was any problem. This time I didn't actually see the splint. And then a couple of days after I spotted it. So I trotted him up again, checked him out, had a good prod around. He didn't flinch, so I assumed that it was cold. Never underestimate splints. Even if they're cold or the horse doesn't respond, they could still be active and you could still do damage. So I see on social media so much that people just take these splints for granted, and they're always asking for opinions. Just if you spot one, just give your horse a couple of weeks off, because it's not worth it. So anyway, I made the decision that he was fine. And then my husband took him. It was a bit faster than expected. And then after that, I gave him a week off. I just did some in-hand stuff with him. And then I wanted to take him to do a little bit of show jumping, just low-level show jumping. Just to go and have like a little bit of fun together. So in prep, I just took him over my cross-country fences at home again. And he was brilliant. He was fab. He was brilliant. So I took him there the next day, got him out, tacked him up, got him into the warm-up. Just didn't feel right. Just couldn't put my finger on it. Every single show jump that I put him at, he refused, point blank. Obviously, you get taught to push them through it. So I tried. The last jump I tried to do, I went over his head, and I just knew. And the whole time that I've had Arthur, he's jumped every single fence. He's never refused a fence. So I just knew there was something wrong. So anyway, lameness workup again. He did have a right hind hip hike. Yeah, so then I decided to take him for more in-depth lameness workup and to have the left splint, hind splint x-rayed. It was active. We're not sure if it was slightly fractured because there was a couple of weeks in between finding the splint and actually having it x-rayed. And I was icing it, bandaging it, keeping him still. So I really tried my best to try and help it heal. But then the vet thought that there was a lot more going on with him. So, and I decided to, well, the vet wanted me to do a bone scan, but they're expensive. So I went home, tried to process what the vet said, and decided, because the vet thought you had a back problem, I thought I would get him x-rayed. And I also thought I would get his SI joint, his SI joints ultrasounded, because I thought I may as well while I'm there. So anyway, he has kissing spines. Now I think he's had it I think this is a coincidental find, because to me, he's never showed any deteriorating behaviour, and he has actually improved. It was only from January when he got his knee, is when he wasn't right, and I think it was the splint. But I believe that the kissing spines explains everything else. And I just don't think it was picked up. But I think it explains everything that I've gone through in the whole 3 years that I've owned this horse. I think it explains everything. It explains the rigid tail. It explains the stiff back. It explains the lack of suppling. It explains so many things. So that's where I'm at the minute. I'm just decided to do a few more investigations. There's also a couple of things to do with his feet, just making sure that his feet are properly balanced. I didn't actually appreciate just how much things like the feet or things like saddle fit or anything like that would actually affect the whole horse. So we're back at the vets at the end of August. And I'm just gonna, I thought I may as well get his hocks x-rayed as well, because chances are he's got hock arthritis, and I can actually see his left hock on the splint x-ray, and it doesn't look right. So that's probably the next thing that's going to come. So I just wanted to share my journey as where I am now, because I'm pretty much going through it alone. And I think a lot of horses in our culture struggle and suffer. And I see a lot of horses at competition that get whipped around courses. You can tell they're uncomfortable, and nobody knows, nobody pays attention. There's no such thing as a naughty horse. There are reasons. It might be to do with training. A horse always wants to please their owner. That's their nature. They want to follow their prey animals. So It's difficult to process that he might have been in a lot of pain from day one. And I've not known. But I've questioned my riding ability so much with him. I've fallen off so many times. I've cried so much over this horse. But now I feel like I've got an answer, or a part answer, of why I struggled so much with him. And I'm going to commit myself to making sure that he's okay, so I'm just trying to do what I suggest to anybody that's in a position that I am. Just do as much research as you can. YouTube is an amazing place for Equitopia is amazing, and there are quite a lot of talks between equine professionals, which I've found really, really interesting as well, which have helped me get a bit more of an understanding. So my next plan of action is to just really have really delve deep into his back legs. So he's having his SI re-scanned. Oh yes, because he does have a bit of fluid on the ligament, on the origin of the ligament at the tubular cocci. I can't pronounce it very well. So yeah, so he's having that rescanned because we're not fully sure if that's an old injury or whether it's just part of his anatomy or whether it's something new. So that we're going to get that scanned at the end of the month. I've decided to get his hooves x-ray, or to just familiarise yourself with hoof angles, hoof pastern axis angles. Just it's just good to give yourself this knowledge. I've been following the Equine Documentalist, and that's really opened my eyes. And then I am going to get his suspensories ultrasounded because I may as well. His hocks x-rayed. And like I say, his feet x-rayed. And then I'm just going to take it from there. I have no idea how I plan to treat the kissing spines. I have no idea. I'm still just finding out just to the extent what's going on with him. But the scary thing is to look at him, to watch him walk and trot and canter on a lunge line. He looks like a little stallion. He looks totally fine. He's got such a gorgeous pace. And that's the scary thing. To a lot of other people, they would be thinking, why am I even going into this depth for? Because he looks fine. Well, he's clearly not fine. So yeah, that's where I'm at. And if anybody would like to follow my journey, I'll make sure to keep putting updates. I'm not very good at this, but I've just got a shock and a half with my horse, and if I can help anybody else by sharing my experiences, then at least, like I said at the beginning, something good is coming out of it. And obviously I hope that me and my horse will be able to enjoy rides out together, because yeah, so anyway, thank you.